So again, this is not far away from Auckland, 20 odd kilometres north. And you can see at the end of this road, which I'll drive down, just look at the grass though. You can see here at the end of the road that we've just got open countryside. A few more here underway. Builders in, that one's done. Get it on the market, quick, get it on the market. One next door. Spotted that speed bump, so I didn't destroy my camera. Got some more going on at the end of the road. So what happens when the building stops, New Zealand? Is everybody going to stay around, do you think? And how is all this being bought? Well, it's not being bought. They're all generally empty or for sale. And at the end of the road you've got the builder's yard. So these look a bit more occupied until you get down to the end of the road. Actually, we've got construction still well underway. I'll go up there in a minute. I'll show you this look first. I remember when all this was naught but fields. There's plans afoot to put some other things in there, I think. Bit more going on. Just drive up here. Doesn't say I'm not allowed in here, so I'm going to go straight in and through the other side. So this is going on both sides of the road. Mixture of detached houses and terraces. So I'm not kidding, these are all going up within 4 or 5 kilometres of the Hobsonville Point site. So they're all essentially competing for the same buyers, and there's a lot on the Hobsonville Point site where the original owners are already reselling. So, GJ Gardner's got a big site going on in here as well. So the original owners are already selling and competing with the new ones. And the new ones are struggling to sell, and the original owners now seem to be struggling to sell as well. So you've just got a backlog of stock. See what's being built around here. You can see there's a lot of land and they can carry on. So 20 kilometres out of Auckland, we're talking just a few miles in real money, and you've got no shortage of houses. There's no shortage of houses. These look almost done. It's been quite a sobering weekend for me. Well, one, because I have been sober all weekend, which is not unusual for me at the weekend. I like to have a drink on a Friday night, but I think that this is more sobering than anything you could possibly see. And if you want to build some more houses, guys, there's parcels and parcels of land over there. And diggers are up on the hill. So again, this is not the Hobsonville Point site. This is another site, not far from. Look at all of that. Right, we're going to move out of this site. Right, Kiddie Winkles, you be very, very careful about how much money you spend on your next house, because there is a serious risk that if you do spend a fortune on it at the moment, that you may be nursing some losses for a few years, because I can't see anything other than a major housing correction happening. I don't want to be a doom and gloom merchant, because it's not generally my way. I'm quite a positive person, but I do fear about the next generation, and that's really why I'm doing this, because the next generation, they need to have the opportunities that I've been fortunate enough to have, and the previous generation before me were able to have, and they got that because they didn't kill themselves with debt. So just be careful, everybody. Okay, this is another site 4 kilometres on from the last one, and this is, I think we're going back to the old speculative buy a plot and do it up, because we've got all these sites in. Look at how tiny they are. Lot 171, 170, 169 sold. These have all sold, so all the plots have been bought. I'm going to drive slowly so you just can see that that's what I'm talking about. So now, is this the speculation of buy it, flip it, again, as we've seen everywhere else? So we've got a tiny little road again with fuck all parking. Excuse my French. That's for sale, that's for sale, that's for sale. They're sold on the other side of the road. These ones are for sale on the outside. Look how tiny the sections are. Some crazy horses, says your neighbours. These are all sold. So somebody's tied money up in these sites. I don't know how much these plots will have gone for. I hope not too much, because but they have been sold. So who's buying them? Who's buying these plots? Please get in touch if you're one of the purchasers. Are you going to build a house? Have you done it with cash? Have you done it refinancing the family home? And are you waiting for somebody to start doing something in here? Because at the moment, in my opinion, these are largely worthless little bits of grass, because you can't do anything with them. I mentioned, I think the other day, the whole land flipping that we saw in the UK in our boom. People buying little sections thinking, okay, well, we'll get them developed at some point, but they were on sort of greenbelt land, and ultimately were never allowed to get them developed. But there's a huge number of these that are sold. It's well over 50%. somebody made a lot of money when this got granted permission to develop, because what they did was they took agricultural land that was worth nothing. It's not worth nothing, but it wasn't worth a lot. And just being able to parcel these sections off, look at how many of them have sold. All of this side have sold. Lots are minuscule. I don't even know how you can't build a house on them. And if you are building a house, you're building a house that is never going to have a garden. Well, you can have a garden but no house, but no, you can have both, I don't think. It's huge. There are hundreds of them. Lot 138. You can see down the end here, they've kept it open so that the road can continue later. Lucky landowner. I wonder if he was somebody's mate. It's beginning to look a lot like Ireland, Martin. See, these roads are so tight that you can't even turn round in them. I'm in a tiny car as well. So by the time you've got houses here and cars and people, it's just going to be an abomination. We wouldn't let people do this in the UK. We definitely wouldn't allow them to do it. It's been completely unregulated, and I'm going to say corrupt. Sorry, I had to say it. Right, children of New Zealand, I'll say it again, be very, very, very careful, because a lot of people will have financed to build this, to buy these plots, and they'll be under pressure at some point, or some of them will, because they ain't going to make any money unless they start doing something here. Phenomenal. Right, I'm going to carry on, we'll go somewhere else. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that I've managed to find some Auckland traffic, or it's found me. And this is the trouble when you build loads and loads of houses and you have a massive housing boom and population increase. You've got to get the developers to put the infrastructure in, because otherwise it makes it a real bugger trying to get anywhere. You've got huge housing developments where there's like one road in and out, and as a result, you get 4,000 or 5,000 people trying to get out of one spot on a sunny Sunday afternoon to escape Auckland and go to the beach or wherever they're going. It just ends up gridlocked. So roads, quite important part of our future, I think, because it's horrible losing all your life to traffic. I didn't come to New Zealand for that. I'm pretty sure the tourists don't. Right, we're moving. Slowly, but we're moving. Right, I've just headed through Kumea, so I'm about 8 kilometres from those plots that were all sold, the tiny little plots that weren't big enough to build a house on. And we've got some more construction, and I know that there's another site coming up, so I just thought I'd switch the camera back on. You can see we've got some more building work going on down here. A lot of traffic, so I'm going to have to wait for a second, so do excuse me while I ramble on. I want to be safe. So yeah, this is again northern Sydney. Northern Sydney, what I'm talking about, northern Auckland. We are probably 25 kilometres north of Auckland. So it's commutable, but the roads around here are a nightmare. There's so many houses that have gone up, but there's not been enough roads, so a lot of them it's one in, one out. but I'm going to have a little drive around. There we go. So you can see there's a lot going on around here. I'll see if I can find a way onto this. This might be it. We'll try. Not an insignificant site by the looks of it. Country club. Hey, guess what? We've got another retirement home going up. Villa's under construction now. Premier retirement lifestyle. Wonder who's funding this one. Let's see if I can get in here. Doesn't look like I can get in there. Let's try this. Site entrance. Okay. No, I can't get in. But you can see it. Let's just turn the indicator off. So it's a big old site. Just underway down there. And then there's some other stuff going on all the way out there, which looks like land and new homes packages. I think if I go, I'll go back. I'm going to have a look at that from the other side. I think I might be able to get in there. You only have to drive a couple of 100 yards and you find another site. Only 5 remaining. Well, that's not true, is it? Because you've got all of those ones being built. Probably different developer. So this is Kumir again. So yeah, about, I don't know, 10 k's away from the Hobsonville site. New homes coming soon from Huapia, heart of wine country. So there's a few people living up here. That one's on the market. Ready living. This isn't a retirement home. So we've got empty plot. Is that 2 plots? House being built. Empty plot. Again, look. So this has just been built, and look how scruffy it all is, which would suggest that there's nobody living there. Thankfully there's loads of countryside so they can build even more of these. Not an insignificant site. For sale, empty, being built, empty plot, for sale, show home, empty plot, empty house, empty plot. Ooh. Gotta concentrate, Joe. I'm just getting shocked by all the... So, how much money's tied up in all of this? Who's building them? Who owns them? That's more space for more plots. And then what does it say? Okay, so these are, I guess, available plots. Housing shortage? Not so sure. Right. There's more down there, more small plots. We'll go down here so I can get round. Got all the construction underway and the daisies around you. And this is the thing, because it's unregulated, you know, you buy a house and you build one, you're the first person that gets on and builds it, waiting for your neighbours, who, I don't know if they even live in the country, to maybe build a house. And in the meantime, the whole site ends up just looking a shambles, because the developers who put the road in, and that's pretty much all they've done, they've put a road in and they've maybe put some drains in, they don't really give a monkeys about you as a homeowner once you've bought the plot off them. I'm going to drive up a bit further. Excuse the fields on this side. This is all land that I'm guessing they will put plots on at some point, but I've decided to slow down. Be careful of these speed bumps. My car doesn't really like them. What the hell are they? What are they? Are they houses? Are they sheds? You can be sure they'll be asking a lot of money for them. Not for sale. I mean, to be fair, there's not a lot to buy at the moment. I'd say, excuse me, Mr. Developer, can you get them all finished before I bother buying one? I don't want to be left here on my own. Reserved. So these are daisy plots. You can reserve your daisies. That one's reserved as well. This plot of daisies is reserved too. I'm not sure what you do with daisies. Do cows like daisies? It was a big thing a few years ago when we went through our big credit boom and banks like RBS. It's interesting, the guy who's the CEO of Westpac now, he used to work for RBS in the early 2000s. But anyway, so that was an aside. What we had in Europe was lots of this speculative land buying, where people would go and buy plots in Dubai, and they'd buy plots in Spain. In Dubai, it was a right headache because people lost a fortune. They bought these plots and then did these stage builds, and then the crash hit, and many of them lost, I don't know, like 50% of their money. Didn't help your retirement. I remember there was this old chap, this is a story from my past, old boy who I went to see. He'd been on the market in 2008 for about a year with a competing agent, and he'd been asking £1 million for his property, and because the agent had told him it was worth £1 million. Nothing on its road had ever sold for anywhere near £1 million, but the agent had told him. So what's that Chinese writing saying? Running Hammer Limited. And this guy, having been told that his house was worth £1 million at the age of 65, he went and bought a house in Spain, spent €300 on this house in Spain for his retirement, because he thought, well, I've still got enough money with my million to downsize and buy something nice and stay local, and then go to Spain when the weather's shit in England, which is a nice thing to think about. To be fair, it's quite something I'd consider. But anyway, I went to see him after he'd had his house on the market in the UK for £1 million for over a year, and I said to him, well, look, your neighbours next door, they sold a year and a half ago for 700,000. Whatever made you think that your house, which is exactly the same, would be worth £1 million? And he said, well, the agent told me. Anyway, it was a tough thing. He broke down into tears. I felt really sorry for him, but he didn't have a choice because he wasn't working, and he had to pay the mortgage that he'd taken out for this Spanish property. He eventually sold his house for 650,000, which unfortunately meant that because of the fact that he had to pay the mortgage in Spain, didn't leave him a lot to buy a house in the UK, so he ended up buying a little 2-bedroom flat, which, to be fair, it solved the situation, but it did mean that he was living in a flat when the weather in the UK was nice, and I think he'd probably wanted to have a garden. But I think he spends more time in Spain these days than he does in England, so I don't know. He worked it out. But there's the moral of the story. Sometimes you make plans on what you think something is worth in a boom, and then it can change very, very quickly when the market turns. And I have got no doubt that we are in for a rocky ride over the next few years, having seen everything I'm seeing. empty plot. A couple of people living maybe. Empty plot. I can't go down there. It's just a slag heap. I'll go up this way. Got to try and work out how to get out. Oh no, back out the way I came. This looks like a bit more going on. I'm just gonna Karaka again. So another new housing development. Don't know how old this one is. We'll have a little drive around. Now I've just come from Manukau City where they're building a couple of big tower blocks, and that's probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 k's from here. But this looks a little bit nicer. Manukau, some of the houses around there weren't particularly appealing. Now it looks like we've got some occupation going on here, which is good. So there've been a lot of sites that I've seen this weekend where there's nobody there. But this is actually better planned. They've got one for sale around the corner there. This is better planned. They've got a central water feature. So you've got the lake in the middle. There's a bit of green space. It's organised off roundabouts and people are looking after them, which is a big positive tick on my box, in my book. Excuse the camera, it's not fixed this time. One for sale. Not that old. One for sale there. Let's go left. Let's see what we've got down the end here. One being cooked. These are actually quite big houses, and the sites are a decent size. You can actually build a house on them. And what's nice as well here is they've been developed. There aren't these big empty plots sitting next to you. There are a few for sale there. On there. But generally much better thought out. Some nice green space. Another house for sale. Sailboard there. Oh, Father Christmas climbing in the window. You can tell people care about this area. They're looking after looking after the place, and that's always a sign of a more permanent development, or people who are developing to stay. This way to Karaka Terraces. Let's go and have a look at Karaka Terraces. So we've got 2 for sale down there. I'm not sure where they are. I can't be bothered to drive down, but the old open home signs out. Again, New Zealanders, you don't live in your houses for more than 10 minutes, do you? What's going on? Another one for sale. There's an LJ Hooker sign there, so there's one up the road. Another one for sale. Not a bad looking house. I've got my headphones stuck and squeaking. Just move that. And another one for sale. Buy it, build it, flip it on. This might be Karaka Terraces. Okay. Yeah, this could be us. So again, plenty of land around. Karaka Terraces sounds a bit cheap compared to the other site. Empty plot, lots of empty land, staked out. Building site, empty plot, more building, one finished for sale. Empty, empty, for sale and empty. For sale and empty. No sign up, but empty. 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 For sale. Being built. Being built. Finished. Or being built perhaps still. So Karaka Terraces has also got a lot of houses for sale. More there. More here. Some. I can't read Chinese. Not sure what that says. That's best curtain. Empty plot. Here we go. Come on, Ray White. For sale. Open home. Very open home. Don't know if there's anyone living in it. Oh no, the sofa's in that one. That's the one house I've seen up here that someone's living in. So we've got all of this around here, all this crap going on. Nobody's looking after. There's more here in the middle. So these are overgrown sections. So you buy one, you get to live in the daisies. Just pull that around here. another one under construction, and another one, and another one. It's the back end of those terraces that are all for sale. Harcourt's open home. For sale. For sale. Empty plot. House. Empty plot. House. Toilet. And another row of terraces next to some empty plots which have had the concrete put down at least. So what has gone on with all of these is anyone's guess. It's a stark contrast to the start of the development that looked quite nice. You'll never guess what. I've just been driving out of Auckland and seen another massive retirement site. This is in Karaka. There's not a lot else around here, but you've got these wonderful little places. Shoe boxes for the elderly. I couldn't really see a lot else. You just literally drive off State Highway 1 and you're here. And there's a big sales office. They've built a nursing complex by the looks of it as well, so you can go from your house to the nursing complex and then on to wherever next. I find it quite interesting that these, because there's literally a Harcourt's estate agents within about 500 yards of here. Got a bowling alley, that's nice, or bowling green I should say, not bowling alley. Speed bumps are a nightmare. Final piece of footage just to finish the clip off, and the videos is Taupo.